glamorous slam for Kashmir hypocrites. Beauty Queens project Peaceful Kashmir. Pageant winner hails Naya Kashmir. Global diva calls it heaven on earth.
140 nations that will come here and showcase it to the rest of the world will also find it as heaven. Such a beautiful place to see.
Hypocrites silenced and exposed. Naya Kashmir, Naya India. Top focus on 5 Live.
Viewer, there's actually nothing I love better than someone totally unexpectedly, completely exposing the hypocrites that make up a part of our everyday life, especially the crybabies in Kashmir who are constantly talking about Article 370, which happens to be in Supreme Court right now, and decrying how Kashmir has not improved. Well, it visibly has, and Miss World is the latest to step into Srinagar to show everyone what enormous hypocrites they really are when Kashmir has in fact become a whole lot better since Article 370's abrogation. I'm Shiv, going to be getting in deep into this. This is 5 Live. These are the headlines. What a huge India Today impact after we expose the luxurious life of imprisoned scamsters. The Vadhavan brothers of DHFL scam fame. Maharashtra Deputy Chief Minister Fadnavis vows to take action. 2 minors gang raped in a Delhi government school. Police nabbed 4 minors under sexual assault charges. Victims claim 2 school teachers were aware of the gang rape but shielded the accused. A day before Raksha Bandhan, big relief for the poor. Centre approves LPG price cut under Ujjwala scheme. Declares additional 200 rupee subsidy on LPG cylinders. Kaveri water war escalates. Massive protests erupt in Mandya after Kaveri panel orders Karnataka government to release water to Tamil Nadu in 15 days. Ahead of big opposition meet in Mumbai, fight erupts over who will be Team India's convener. JDU's Nitish Kumar refuses the post, pitches Congress chief Kharge for the post of convener. Miss World Karolina Bielawska. She's far away from home. Poland is her native country. But yesterday, for many hours, Karolina was in our very own Srinagar. That's right, she was in Jammu and Kashmir, where she spent the entire day taking in the sights and sounds, interacting with locals, enjoying the food, enjoying the hospitality, taking a boat ride on the Dal Lake, and pretty much getting the whole Kashmir experience. Well, this is the Naya Kashmir experience that the old brigade doesn't want you to see, doesn't want you to believe is the reality, increasingly so since the abrogation of Article 370. There's no emotion attached to this because Kashmir is a complicated issue, but the fact that peace and prosperity appears to be returning to Jammu and Kashmir is a reality that the hypocrites simply cannot face. And here's Miss World Karolina, all the way from Poland, sticking it to them.
Probably the most glamorous slap in the face of Kashmir's hypocrite brigade. Those who continue to lament the abrogation of Article 370 and Kashmir's journey to normalcy, peace and prosperity. Say hello to Miss World Karolina Bielawska. The beauty pageant winner spent all of Monday in Kashmir. Accompanied by Miss India World Sini Shetty, Karolina enjoyed a traditional Kashmiri meal and did what all tourists love most about Srinagar, a shikara ride in the beautiful Dal Lake.
But what we've seen today was really blowing our minds. The beautiful lake, we took a ride on the boats, we see the colorful garden, and everyone welcomed us so nicely, so warmly, that I cannot wait to welcome 140 nations and all my friends and family, to bring them here to India and to show places like Kashmir.
Images of a beauty pageant winner enjoying her day in Kashmir explode with meaning. Jammu and Kashmir, one of the most beautiful places in the world, used to be a tourist hotspot for decades. Following the abrogation of Article 370, Jammu and Kashmir has seen an incredible surge in tourism, beating all previous records and setting Kashmir on a path of peace and profits for its people. And now, even though legacy netas continue to decry their loss of a narrative, leave it to Miss World to expose the frustrated old Kashmir Brigade, whose presence in Srinagar has sent out a message to the whole world that Kashmir is peaceful and open for business. Let's see how Mehbooba Mufti and her generation of politicians spin this one. Bureau Report, India Today.
Now listen into this exclusive conversation that India Today had with Miss World Karolina Bielawska. She's all the way from Poland and she spent an entire day in Srinagar. Here she is speaking to India Today about what it was like being in Kashmir.
So you have been Kashmir yesterday. How's your trip? Tell me about that.
Oh, wonderful. Every time we come here, we discover something new, and Kashmir it's a gem, really. It's so beautiful. We had lots of fun, didn't we? We went on our boat rides, we've visited the gardens. It's so colorful, beautiful. People are welcoming. Seriously, I believe that this is the place for the world to see.
भारत में हम बोलते हैं Kashmir is heaven. Do you find it heaven?
Yes, and I think the 140 nations that will come here and showcase it to the rest of the world will also find it as heaven. It's such a beautiful place to see.
So, Jessica, we say like Kashmir Ki Kali. It's a movie based on Kashmir. So, what do you find very beautiful in Kashmir? What do you find very attractive in Kashmir?
The whole of the landscape is just absolutely incredible, and we were also blessed yesterday to go onto the lake, and that was just an incredible experience on its own. The absolute nature, everything about it is amazing, and also I've learnt that there's snow leopards in the area, which is absolutely incredible. Like, I had no idea, so I would love to go back and hopefully see some of the wildlife.
Will you consider your friends and family to go on a holiday there?
Absolutely, yes, absolutely. As soon as I get back to England, I'll be telling everybody to visit Kashmir. It was stunning.
So Miss World, basically, by just her physical presence in Kashmir, taking part in all of the things that tourists love and enjoy doing in Kashmir, has signaled to India, to the world, to Pakistan, to POK, to everyone, who happens to think that they are a stakeholder or an opinion maker when it comes to India and Kashmir, stands completely exposed, stands completely silenced, because their hypocrisy has been put on full display. What Miss Karolina has basically done by staying there is put all of these Rondus and Rudalis on notice. These are people whose own narrative, whose own existence completely only depends on conflict in Kashmir. And therefore, seeing a beauty queen, a pageant winner, enjoying herself in Kashmir is a direct threat to their existence, their narrative, and their sense of power. Two global women on two sides of the line of control. One yesterday and one just over a year ago, viewer. It's a story you need to watch because in my view, it's the very picture of hypocrisy, dishonesty, manipulation, propaganda, and plain 2023 shamelessness. On the left is Miss World Karolina Bielawska, who just spent a whole day in Srinagar, the capital of Jammu and Kashmir, and said she is mind blown by its beauty and the hospitality of the people there. On the right of your screen is American Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, who accepted a free Pakistan-funded trip to Pakistan-occupied Kashmir just over a year ago, where she made totally positive noises about the Pakistan government and POK. She didn't spend a penny on that particular trip, as has recently been embarrassingly revealed by US Congress financial records. Miss World Karolina Bielawska says she cannot wait to welcome 140 nations and all her friends and family to bring them to India later this year to show them places like Kashmir when the next Miss World pageant happens later this year. Ilhan Omar, on the other hand, after her Pakistan-funded joyride to POK, returned to the US and immediately moved a US Congress resolution attempting to call attention to alleged human rights violations in Jammu and Kashmir. Not then and not since then has Ilhan Omar said a single word about the nearly daily human rights violations against Shia Muslims, Ahmadiyas, Hindus, Christians, Sikhs, or the latest spate of child abuse cases in the country, or the latest revolt and allegations of genocide by the Shia Muslim community in POK, saying that the Pakistan government is trying to reduce their numbers and finish them off. Not a word from Ilhan Omar. Meanwhile, Miss World Karolina spent her day enjoying Kashmiri food, taking a boat ride on the Dal Lake, and becoming the centerpiece of images showcasing how the Kashmir Valley has broken all previous tourism records in 2022-23, far exceeding the average of the previous 40 years. Ilhan Omar, meanwhile, spent her day in April last year shaking hands with Pakistan's Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif and Pakistan-appointed politicians in POK. Shahbaz Sharif, remember, who has single-handedly presided over the historic collapse of his nation, pushing it into a state of near civil war, a situation that continues now with the tanking of the Pakistani rupee, riots for essential items like wheat, and a population that is itself continuously praising India. Ilhan Omar doesn't have one word for any of that. Miss World Karolina Bielawska, meanwhile, was obviously there as part of her pageant's outreach protocol and public relations, but it was clear she loved every moment of her time in Srinagar. Just look at these pictures. You can't fake that. And who wouldn't? 1.2 lakh tourists visited Kashmir in February this year, the highest ever monthly figure. Ilhan Omar, meanwhile, has had her finger on her lips as churches and the homes of Christians in Pakistan were recently attacked and burnt down by angry religious mobs following the alleged burning of a Quran in that country. Ilhan Omar has not said one single word. That is the level of shamelessness. Miss World Karolina becomes, whether you like it or not, a face of normalcy, peace, prosperity, and fun in Kashmir, something the people there crave. Her promise of bringing her friends and family back will serve as an invitation to people the world over, telling them that Kashmir is waiting to welcome them, has lovely hotels, hill stations, restaurants, and some of the warmest people in the world. Meanwhile, Ilhan Omar must be stewing in her catastrophically embarrassing choice of siding with Pakistan and POK's leaders while taking pot shots at India. While every possible index of security shows clearly that Kashmir is visibly and quantifiably safer since the abrogation of Article 370, Pakistan and POK, which Ilhan enjoyed a fully sponsored trip to, have never been more poor, more dangerous, and more on the edge of total collapse. Two global women on two sides of the line of control. You decide. Now we're shifting to our second big story on the show, the politics over the Chandrayaan-3 mission. Remember, today is day 7 of the momentous Chandrayaan-3 mission. Our scientists are busy, but our netas are even busier trying to score brownie points. The Congress today attempted to set the agenda by attacking Prime Minister Narendra Modi, accusing him of hogging all the limelight of India's moon missions. Well, what was the example that the Congress used? They said, remember how former Prime Minister Indira Gandhi had invited her bitter political rival, then Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister N.T. Ramarao, to be present at the Sriharikota Island for the successful launch of the Rohini satellite on board the SLV-3 rocket back in 1983. They also questioned why Prime Minister Modi didn't invite Karnataka Chief Minister Siddaramaiah when he visited ISRO headquarters in Bengaluru last Saturday to greet the scientists for the successful landing of the Chandrayaan-3 on the lunar surface. India Today's Poulami Saha spoke to Congress MP Manikam Tagore and BJP leader R.P. Singh over this particular news spat. Take a look.
We are all proud Indians. We are all happy to appreciate ISRO's hard work, the scientists' hard work, the scientific community's hard work. Nobody is taking their credit. Only Mr. Modi is trying to divert that attention from the...
Okay, let's ask the BJP that. So, Prime Minister Modi, R.P. Singh of the BJP, is joining us over the phone line, is trying to play petty politics, is what the Congress is saying, Mr. Singh, that he was not gracious enough to invite the Karnataka Chief Minister.
Well, Karnataka Chief Minister on his own, before the Prime Minister went there, have gone there and felicitated, which we said is okay with us. I mean, he is the Chief Minister of State along with the Deputy CM. He went and felicitated all the scientists. Although Prime Minister day one said that I am directly coming to you. I mean, he could have waited and went along with the Prime Minister, but he didn't do so. He was doing cheap politics. If he had to use their parameter, then he was doing cheap politics by going before the Prime Minister has gone there.
But was an invitation extended? Was an invitation extended to the Karnataka Chief Minister to be there on August 26 when the Prime Minister lands?
Follow me, I am not aware of it. But fact is that if the man has already gone there and felicitated the scientists much before the Prime Minister went there, although he knew that Prime Minister will go there, Prime Minister made a public announcement on this. But he didn't wait for that. He did the cheap politics. He could have waited for two more days and would have gone with the Prime Minister.
Well, I had a chance to ask the team at ISRO how they felt about the Prime Minister being there, away from all the politics. Here's what they had told me yesterday. Very, very honored to be joined live from the ISRO headquarters in Bengaluru by Dr. Somnath and his entire team from the Chandrayaan-3 program. Good evening, Dr. Somnath. So lovely to have you with us. Thank you for your time, and I know you're busy, but it's been a momentous few days. It's 6 days since the launch. The Prime Minister also was there just a few days ago to honor all of you on Saturday. I know you can't talk in detail about what's happening on the moon right now because everything is being analyzed. We just saw those beautiful images of the Pragyan, which I'll come to in a moment. But I'd like to start, because you did want to speak about this, Dr. Somnath, about how you and your team felt to be honored by the Prime Minister on Saturday morning. How special was that for you?
Thank you for this opportunity. So all of you know that we wanted our Honorable Prime Minister on the day of the landing itself. Of course, you know that he was out of the country and the date cannot be changed as well, the landing day, because it is the day of beginning of the daytime of the moon. So it had to be like that. But then he joined us virtually from South Africa. That was so graceful for us to watch him on the screen, and we explaining all that to him, and immediately after that he addressed us and congratulated us, and he offered us that he will be coming here and then spending time with us basically to congratulate us. And all of us were elated by his presence, as all of you know that he has a magical presence, especially when you interact with him, and he is so very vocal about what we did, our contributions for us. And he also said very sorry for being inviting all of you so early in the morning to assemble for this meeting, and he blamed it on himself that because of him that you people have to suffer. Then I said that this is a culture of ISRO, that we work here for hours together. We don't go home that easily. So that's okay. And he was congratulating us and also telling that the work done by ISRO is very inspirational. And it must be a message to the new generation of people that are intended to take up science, engineering, and exploration in the future. So we look for his advice, his vision, and also wanted to hear very much congratulatory message from him. And it's not for those people in Chandrayaan 3 alone, it's for the entire ISRO, because we are into many, many tasks, many teams are working across, and everybody need a little bit of words of praise for their very personally personal contributions and sacrifices they make. So we were very thankful for that from the highest leader of this country.
Dr. Somnath, one of the big announcements that the Prime Minister made, and, we are still letting all of that sink in while we see all these beautiful images being, being released by ISRO on a daily basis, and we consume it with a great deal of anticipation, is the declaration of August 23rd, the day you and your amazing team landed on the South Pole of the Moon, creating space history as National Space Day. That's been declared. What went through your mind when that announcement was made by the Prime Minister?
Yes, I think that's great. We have been celebrating only World Space Week so far, which is a global space week, which celebrates the accomplishment of nations other than us. Now there is a day that celebrates accomplishment of India. I think this is something very, very personal, something very much to our heart. And we look forward for celebration from next year onwards on how to celebrate 23rd of August as the National Space Day, as much as vigor and energy as we celebrate the October 4th to 10th, the World Space Week as well. So
we can't wait. And now the BJP has hit back at the Congress party and said, you haven't even told the full story. You've said that Indira Gandhi called N.T. Ramarao for the launch of the Rohini satellite in 1983 when he was the Andhra Pradesh CM. But now C.R. Kesavan, the great-grandson of C. Rajagopalachari, freedom fighter, founding father, and recent entrant into the BJP from the Congress party, has hit back and said, why doesn't the Congress tell the full story, which is that the NTR government was toppled by Indira Gandhi in 1984 while NTR was in the United States undergoing heart surgery. So the Congress party attack on the BJP, receiving this very stinging reply from C.R. Kesavan of the BJP. The Congress party, remember, attempting to make a meal of the fact that the Prime Minister was front and center at ISRO, and Siddaramaiah, the Chief Minister, didn't show up until the next day. Remember, Siddaramaiah and D.K. Shivakumar had actually visited the ISRO the day after the landing. That was August the 24th. The Prime Minister came only on Saturday. But the fact that Siddaramaiah was not invited to be part of the Modi event itself has become a big flashpoint for politics. Jairam Ramesh putting out a tweet saying, Prime Minister Modi didn't invite Siddaramaiah, but Indira Gandhi had graciously invited her arch rival, N.T. Ramarao, who was then Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh, for the launch of the SLV-3 rocket carrying the Rohini satellite in 1983. But now the BJP is hit back through C.R. Kesavan by saying, why don't you tell the full story? Because just a year after Indira Gandhi invited NTR for the rocket launch in Sriharikota, she had toppled his government even as the Chief Minister was undergoing heart surgery in the United States. And preparations are underway in the national capital for the mega G20 summit. Delhi has undergone an impressive makeover. Security has been beefed up as India awaits the arrival of the world's top 20 leaders. Here's what's happening in the national capital.
The Indian capital's impressive makeover. New Delhi prepares to welcome the world. The city putting its best foot forward to host the G20 summit, September 9th and 10th. Key streets right from the international airport adorned with welcome billboards, intricate artwork, blending India's culture with modernity. a dense green cover. Jet fountains. The landscaping can't be more aesthetic. That's the venue where world leaders will assemble for the summit. A grand, state-of-the-art integrated exhibition-cum-convention center at iconic Pragati Maidan. Spread across a campus area of about 123 acres. An architectural marvel, developed in the shape of the Shankh at a cost of about 2,700 crore rupees. Its design inspired by Indian tradition. The IECC all lit up and ready to embrace the world leaders. Infrastructure upgrade around the venue, roads beautified. The grandeur of metro stations polished to perfection. The centre and Delhi administration attentive to detail as crews worked tirelessly to deliver a memorable experience to the visiting dignitaries.
पिछले 2 महीने से जो हमारी पूरी टीम सिटी के अंदर काम कर रही है, उसके रिजल्ट्स अब दिखने लगे हैं। बहुत ज़्यादा सारा एरिया क्लीन हो गया है, ग्रीन हो गया है और जहाँ-जहाँ पर फुटपाथ टूटे हुए थे, रोड खराब थी, उन सबको रिपेयर कर दिया गया है। रोड पर पेंट्स का काम चल रहा है। आपने देखा कि बहुत जगहों पर फाउंटेन्स लगाए गए हैं, स्टैचूज लगाई गई हैं, ये जगह-जगह से लाई गई हैं।
लगभग 1 साल के अंदर हमने कम से कम अपनी जो हाईटेक नर्सरी है उसमें 10 लाख कटिंग से पौधे हमने तैयार किए हैं। इस पूरे दिल्ली को ग्रीन दिखाने के लिए लगभग 3000 बड़े प्लांट्स हमने रोड्स पर लगाए हैं। 32 रोड्स ऐसी हैं जिन रोड्स को हमने पूरा का पूरा ग्रीन कवर दिया है। लगभग 43 लाख सैपलिंग्स जिनको हमने अलग अलग सेंटर वर्ड्स पर, साइड बम्प्स पर, इन सब को हमने अलग अलग लगाया है।
Security tightened across the city. Delhi has declared a 3-day public holiday for all private and government offices and commercial establishments from September 8th to 10th. India set to host around 30 world leaders, including US President Joe Biden, British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, Canada's Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, France's Macron Emmanuel, and China President Xi Jinping. Luxury hotels booked to accommodate the VVIPs from around the world.
Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam.
India formally took over the year-long presidency of the group of 20 countries in 2022 from Indonesia. The September event in New Delhi marks the culmination of all the G20 processes and meetings held throughout the year among ministers, senior officials and civil societies. With Anmol Bali, Bureau Report, India Today.
Now, Delhi has a huge number of excellent superstar deluxe luxury hotels, and they're all completely booked for all the biggies who are landing for the G20. Take, for instance, the Le Méridien Hotel. That's where British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak will be staying. You've got the Maurya Sheraton, where US President Joe Biden will be staying with his entire entourage. That's the Maurya Sheraton. Xi Jinping, the President of China, will be staying at the big Taj Palace Hotel. That's where the India Today conclave and many events are also held. The Lalit Hotel is where Justin Trudeau, the Canadian Prime Minister, and his entire contingent will be staying. Emmanuel Macron, the President of France, will be staying at the Lila Ambience Hotel in the national capital. Okay, so those are basically all of the world leaders and the hotels that have been booked in their name. Let's go straight across to our reporters now. Shreya Chatterjee is live with me from the Delhi airport, and Ashutosh Mishra is live with us from the Pragati Maidan, the newly souped up Pragati Maidan, where the G20 will be taking place in the second week of September. Shreya, quickly coming to you first. Lots of preparations. Even the airport, Delhi's famous Indira Gandhi International Airport, is going to be wearing a new look in just a few days from now. What can you share with us?
Well, Shiv, I'm actually at the Ulaanbaatar road which leads to the airport. Remember, this is the first point where all these delegates and signatories will be landing first when they actually reach the capital. Behind me, you can see the iconic lion statues which have been specially planned across the entire stretch which leads to the airport. And subsequently, I'll also ask my cameraman Raja to point out the fountains which have also been specially designed for the G20. This entire road, the entire work has also been done for the plantation. There have been trees that have not just been planted for beautification, but also keeping in mind the air pollution. The work has been done. And as I talk to you about this, you can see the last minute work from the PWD department that it's also under its way, because they are not leaving any stone untouched to ensure that this entire stretch that leads from the airport to the main city is beautifully decked up when all those important signatories reach the national capital.
You're at the Pragati Maidan. Shreya's just given us that lowdown on the airport, the areas around it. Pragati Maidan is the centerpiece. That's where the meetings and the summit meetings of the G20 are going to happen. We all remember Pragati Maidan as this old, grey, sort of uninspiring kind of location. But it's got a complete makeover, and it's now a world-class convention facility. What are you seeing there?
Absolutely, Shiv. From most chaotic and traffic jam place, now right behind me, another iconic place, perhaps gonna be a new identity of this capital. And this reminds me the scale up that was done during the Commonwealth Games. Totally a new Delhi. Delhi was totally changed into a new shape, new, everywhere you go, literally see a new face of Delhi. So the facelift that has been done, not only the central part of Delhi, but all over the area. In fact, all the agency, be it the center, be it the state, be it the civic agency, the beautification of roads at the European level standard was being done by all around, and still the project was being carried out. In fact, those are last minute touch being given. You spoke about the hotels. We have been to those hotels where they are luxurious hotels are preparing for G20 exclusive fine dine menus, special arrangements. But here in this entire, particularly the epicenter area, you see the beautification, the way it has been done, the fusion of modern and the cultural India. Subsequently, Shiv, very interestingly, I've been to Chandni Chowk, which is just nearby. Perhaps one market would be allowed to open. We don't know whether the delegates will have enough time to go and venture out in those markets. There are sweet shops. They have said that they're making special jaleba, the special dessert for Mr. Jinping. We're making special desserts for Mr. Joe Biden. And there are traditional shops where special fusion attires we are preparing for delegates. So everywhere you go, Delhi for G20 is all colored. It's going to be new festival. Already we are approaching closer to the festive season, and let me tell you, this G20 is not going to be less than a festival for the national capital.
It's going to be a huge festival, and let's hope that apart from what it does for India, the national capital also gains from it, because everyone knows that events come and go, but the national capital does bear the brunt, and hopefully all these great changes will become permanent conveniences for the entire public to enjoy. Shreya and Ashu, thanks very much for getting us those live reports. But as the national capital gears up to host all of those delegations from more than 20 countries, it's not just the summit facilities that are undergoing a transformation, but also the roads of Delhi, which will soon be graced by these luxury cars in large numbers being booked and reserved for the exclusive use of many leaders from many countries. Take a look at this report filed by India Today's Anmol Bali.
ये जो मैं गाड़ी में बैठा था, ये है मर्सिडीज में बैग गाड़ी, जिसकी कीमत 3.5 करोड़ है। G20 समिट को ऐसी ही हजारों गाड़ियां दिल्ली की सड़कों पर चलती दिखेंगी। क्या ऑडी, क्या BMW और क्या मर्सिडीज, हर कहीं अगर G20 समिट के समय आप देखेंगे तो आपको ऐसी ही हाई एंड लग्जरी गाड़ियां दिखेंगी। तो इन्हीं गाड़ियों के बारे में और बातचीत करने के लिए हमारे साथ पुनिया ट्रेवल्स के मालिक हैं, संस्थापक हैं, जो ये गाड़ियां हैं कंपनीज को, गवर्नमेंट एजेंसीज को मुहैया करा रहे हैं। तो हरमन जी, पहले तो आप हमें ये बताएं कि G20 को लेकर ये जो लग्जरी कार्स का जो क्रेज है इस पर आप क्या कहेंगे?
जी, G20 में जितने भी डेलीगेट्स आ रहे हैं, जितने भी कंट्रीज के आ रहे हैं, वो सबके लिए दिल्ली गवर्नमेंट ने लग्जरी गाड़ियां मंगवाई हैं, उनकी डिमांड करी है, कम से कम 450 से ज़्यादा डिमांड आई है। तो उनमें से कुछ हमारी भी 150 गाड़ियां लग्जरी जो है वो लगी है G20 समिट में। उनमें से सबसे महंगी गाड़ी आपके पीछे देख सकते हैं आप, मर्सिडीज मेबैक है। उसके अलावा BMW 5 सीरीज, मर्सिडीज E क्लास, S क्लास, GLS, ऑडी Q7, BMW 5 सीरीज और तमाम गाड़ियां आपको देखने को मिलेंगी, और वो सारी हमारी खुद की गाड़ियां जो है वो G20 में लग रही हैं।
तो कौन कौन है सर जो आपके कस्टमर हैं जो आपसे गाड़ियां मांग रहे हैं G20 के लिए?
G20 के लिए आप कह सकते हैं कि एक तो गवर्नमेंट की तरफ से डिमांड है, एम्बेसीज की तरफ से डिमांड है, और कॉरपोरेट के भी डिमांड रहते हैं जो कि G20 के लिए अब डिमांड कर रहे हैं हमसे।
And India Today's Akshita Nandagopal explains in detail what exactly the G20 or Group of 20 objectives are in India when it starts next month, and the countries that are part of this exclusive group that India now heads.
The G20, or Group of 20, is a crucial bloc of nations formed in 1999 in response to several economic crises, particularly the South Asian economic crisis. Essentially, it was the G7 which was expanded to G20. The richest countries roped in the emerging economies as well to share the burden of the crisis. 19 countries and the European Union make up the G20. Besides India, Argentina, Australia, Brazil, Canada, China, France, Germany, Indonesia, Italy, Japan, Mexico, Russia, Saudi Arabia, South Korea, South Africa, Turkey, America, and the United Kingdom are a part of the G20. Now, this intergovernmental forum is a very crucial one. Between these countries I listed, 80% of the gross world product, 75% of international trade, and 2/3 of the global population is covered. This is a trade bloc, which means that the focus is largely on international economic and financial issues. Here are the stated objectives of the G20. First, policy coordination between its members in order to achieve global economic stability and sustainable growth. Second, to promote financial regulations that reduce risks and prevent future financial crises. And third, to create a new international financial architecture. The G20 operates without a permanent secretariat or staff. The chair rotates annually among the members and is selected from a different regional grouping of countries. The chair is part of a revolving 3-member management group of past, present, and future chairs referred to as the Troika. So currently, the G20 chair or the presidency is with us, with India, handed to us during the Bali summit in November 2022. It was made official on December 1st, 2022. So India has now launched a website, taken over all digital platforms for the next 1 year of the G20, and is holding a slew of events to engage and ensure that this is a people's G20 as stated. India is hosting over 200 meetings in over 50 cities across 32 different work streams, and will have the opportunity to offer G20 delegates and guests a glimpse of India's rich cultural heritage and provide them with a unique Indian experience. Prime Minister Narendra Modi also unveiled the logo, theme and website of the 2023 G20 Summit on November 8th.
इस लोगो और थीम के जरिए हमने ये संदेश दिया है, हिंसा के प्रतिरोध में महात्मा गांधी के जो समाधान है, G20 के जरिए भारत उनकी वैश्विक प्रतिष्ठा को नई ऊर्जा दे रहा है.
Now, India's G20 presidency theme of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam is one earth, one family, one future. The G20 summit with all world leaders will reportedly be held in September 2023. Now, when a country assumes the presidency, they also get to choose the focus area of that year. And India has indicated that the focus will be digitization to transform lives.
And don't miss the credit war that's broken out between the BJP and the Aam Aadmi Party, which is part of the Delhi government, over funding for Delhi's G20 makeover. The BJP says funds for Delhi's makeover for the G20 summit were given by the centre and has accused the Aam Aadmi Party, which runs the Delhi government, for stealing credit. Delhi Minister Saurabh Bharadwaj has claimed the redevelopment work for the G20 summit was done by the Delhi Government Public Works Department and the Municipal Corporation of Delhi, controlled by the Aam Aadmi Party, using Delhi taxpayers' money, and not even a single penny was given to them by the central government. Meanwhile, the BJP has once again hit back at the Aam Aadmi Party, calling Kejriwal a hypocrite. The BJP says that Delhi Chief Minister himself claimed that the Delhi Lieutenant Governor, who is a central government appointee, was not allowing him to do any development work for G20 and is now stealing credit for the same. He further quoted Kejriwal's assembly speech where he said that he was given no proposal for funding the G20 summit. He asked Kejriwal that he should not politicize the G20 summit in Delhi.
हम सब ने मिलके काम किया है। ये भारतीय जनता पार्टी की छोटी मानसिकता है, क्योंकि मैं ये मानती हूँ कि सब दिल्ली वालों ने, सब एजेंसीज ने मिलके काम किया है, तभी दिल्ली आज इतना सुंदर सज के तैयार हुई है। कुछ एरियाज हैं बिल्कुल जो केंद्र सरकार के अंडर आते हैं, जो एनडीएमसी एरिया है, वहां पर केंद्र सरकार ने पैसा लगाया है, लेकिन जो पीडब्ल्यूडी की सड़कें हैं, जैसे जहां पर हम आज खड़े हैं, ये तो दिल्ली सरकार की सड़क है। सारा काम जो यहाँ पे ब्यूटिफिकेशन का हुआ है, ये दिल्ली सरकार ने किया है। कई एरियाज हैं जो एमसीडी के अंडर आते हैं, वहां पे एमसीडी ने अपना फंड लगाया है। तो मुझे लगता है कि ये समय नहीं है कि हम कहें कि जी ये बीजेपी ने किया है या आम आदमी पार्टी ने किया है।
इसी बीच क्रेडिट वॉर भी शुरू हो गया है आपके बीच और बीजेपी के बीच। वो कह रहे हैं कि अच्छा तो आप लोगों को बड़ा पसंद है, लेकिन खट्टा तू करते हैं, आप क्रेडिट ले रहे हैं सारी तैयारियों।
अब देखिए, अगर दिल्ली सरकार की सड़कें हैं जो दिल्ली सरकार के फंड से बनी है, दिल्ली के टैक्स पेयर के पैसे से ये सड़क बनी है, तो इसमें केंद्र सरकार कहां से आ गई? मतलब मैं हैरान हूं कि इतने महान मौके पे फंड जैसी छोटी बात भारतीय जनता पार्टी के नेताओं ने की। हम तो फंड की बात ही नहीं कर रहे थे, मगर इन्होंने कही तो हमें बताना पड़ा कि दिल्ली सरकार को केंद्र से G20 के नाम पर 1 रुपए का फंड भी नहीं मिला है।
मांगा था।
देखिए, बहुत पहले मनीष सिसोदिया जी के समय में 900-925 करोड़ रुपए का एक एस्टीमेट डिपार्टमेंट द्वारा बनाया गया था, निर्मला सीतारमण जी को लिखा भी गया था, मगर वो पैसा नहीं मिला तो कोई बात नहीं,
कोई अलॉटमेंट नहीं हुआ उस 900 करोड़ की डिमांड।
अलॉटमेंट हुआ नहीं, ये बात तो है, मगर मैं ये कह रहा हूं हम कोई तकाजा भी नहीं कर रहे थे, हमने तो ये बात बोली ही नहीं। फंड की बात तो भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने बोलकर छोटी राजनीति की है।
अरविंद केजरीवाल जी आज दावे कर रहे हैं कि दिल्ली के अंदर G20 का जो काम हुआ है दिल्ली के अंदर, वो अरविंद केजरीवाल की सरकार ने कराया है। आप तो कुछ दिन पहले कहते थे अरविंद केजरीवाल साहब की एलजी साहब को काम नहीं करने दे रहे। अगर काम नहीं करने दे रहे तो इतनी दिल्ली जो खूबसूरत आप जो दावा कर रहे हैं खूबसूरत बन गई है, वो किसने कराई है वो आप बता दीजिए। दूसरी बात, आपने अपने विधानसभा के जवाब में साफ लिखा है कि G20 के लिए आपने कोई पैसे का प्रावधान नहीं किया। केंद्र सरकार ने आपको पैसा दिया है और काम केंद्र सरकार ने करवाया है, और क्रेडिट आप लेने के लिए हर बार की तरह आप क्रेडिट लेने आ गए।
मिस्टर क्रेडिट चोर, who is ally of Chara Chor, has come to once again take credit. And this is the same man who in the assembly has said via written reply that we have allocated no funds for G20 works. This is the same man who started saying, I have no money left for G20. Please give me the money to do work for G20. Otherwise, I cannot do anything. Despite having revenue surplus. Then the central government allocated 700 crores for beautification, repairs and maintenance work for G20, despite Delhi government saying we have surplus. And we have also read how 3-4 days ago, news reports had carried that many of the contractors were not paid the money by the Delhi government, so they had stopped the repair work. They had threatened the Delhi government that unless you pay the money, we will not continue with the work. This is the government which only believes in giving advertisements and stealing credit.
And of course, finally, it's happy Onam to all of those celebrating in India and around the world. Keralites, of course, across the world are celebrating Onam with beautiful pookalams adorning every home and sumptuous Onam sadhya. Onam is a harvest festival that's celebrated cutting across religious lines with pomp and fervour in God's own country and beyond. Men wear the traditional munda and women wear the white kasava sari in this occasion. There's plenty of King Mahabali's roam the streets. Here's wishing you all a very, very happy Onam and leaving you with this report where my Malayali colleague Akshita explains why the festival happens.